evening. Imagine that you're home alone in the middle of the night watching television. You hear a strange noise and get up to investigate and discover that an intruder is trying to make entry into your home. You rush to your phone, dial 911. The dispatcher has your address up on the screen immediately and sends the police out in a timely manner who chase away the intruder, keeping you and your family safe. Now imagine the same situation, except that this time there's multiple intruders armed with automatic weapons. They want to kill you and your family because of your religion. The only way to get a hold of the police is to contact the police chief's personal cell phone number, which is unreliable at best. That's even if you have the number. And then they'll have to travel over dirt roads or strewn with potholes and improvise explosive devices, the possibility of an ambush to get to your house. These are some of the challenges of mentoring the police force in Afghanistan. Tonight I would like to discuss with you the two main challenges, which are culture and terrain, and some ways to combat it. By far the most important aspect of mentoring a police force in Afghanistan is dealing with the culture. If you deal with the culture effectively, then it'll minimize breakdown in communication and keep the culture from having an adverse effect on your mission. Afghanistan is a very different place than the United States. According to the CIA World Factbook, it's 42% Pashtun, with the rest of the population being predominantly Muslim. It's an agricultural society rather than a service-based economy like the United States, and their political system puts more of an emphasis on age than political office or rank. These differences can cause the mentor and the mentee to seem alien to each other, and again cause a breakdown in communication. By far the most important thing in the Afghan's life is their religion. They'll stop operations or not conduct operations at all to celebrate religious holidays or to pray. Therefore, it's important that you learn the Afghan culture and how to work with the culture instead of trying to work against it to be successful. The agricultural-based economy of Afghanistan makes the population decentralized and self-sufficient. They prefer to handle problems with the tribe or on their own, and therefore it's important that you find ways to make the police force relevant within the community so that the locals want to use them. I personally ran into the issue with age because I was a 26-year-old squad leader mentoring a 55-year-old Afghan colonel. We had to strike a balance between the two of us in order to be successful. We made sure that I didn't undermine him or he didn't undermine me in front of either of our soldiers, and that he understood and his police force understood that I was there as an advisor and I was not in charge. The second most important aspect of mentoring the police force in Afghanistan is the terrain. Terrain is integral to every military operation, and this does not change for Afghanistan. The terrain is varied, there's a lack of infrastructure, and the weather can be quite harsh. The physical terrain in Afghanistan has elements of the Rocky Mountains, the Mojave Desert, and the Great Plains within the United States. And again, according to the CIA World Factbook, all these terrain differences are condensed into a country that has 15% of the land mass of the United States. As stated previously, they have a lack of communication, but they also have a lack of utilities and a poor road system. The road system that does exist is predominantly dirt, and again strewn with potholes, improvised explosive devices, or landmines left over from the Soviet invasion. An important point made by retired General and Ambassador to Afghanistan Carl Eichenberry and Joseph Collins' books Understanding the War in Afghanistan is that where the road ends, the Taliban begins. It's important that you remember this when you're dealing with the enemy, the locals, and the populace in Afghanistan. The weather is fairly straightforward. Down in the south, there's hot summers, and the winters can be wet, but there's very little snow. Up in the north, around the Hindu Kush mountain range, then it's a cooler summertime. However, there's days and days of snow as you get into the winter months. As you can see, the terrain in Afghanistan is difficult but not impossible to overcome. The book The Bear Went Over the Mountain by Lester W. Brown contains aspects of operating in the terrain in Afghanistan, more specifically how the Soviets dealt with the terrain in reference to their military operations in Afghanistan. Each type of physical terrain is unique, but they have some common denominators. The obvious being that there's a slow response time no matter where you go. What's strange to American minds is that often it's faster to travel on foot in Afghanistan than by vehicle. The infrastructure is also surprising to most Americans. To combat this, the situational training exercises in which leaders have to deal with little or no information to make decisions is critical to your success when you're mentoring the police force. You should also incorporate this training with your Afghans. The weather is easy to combat. All you need to do is make sure you have the proper food, clothing, and water for your soldiers and maintain your equipment accordingly. So as we can see, the terrain is difficult to overcome and insurmountable. Now, admittedly, there's numerous other aspects of mentoring a police force in Afghanistan, but these are two the most important. If you can get a jump start on these, then you can more likely ensure success in your mentoring mission.